In January 2022, a gruesome and heartbreaking discovery was made in a small town in Louisiana. Lacey Ellen Fletcher, a 36-year-old woman, was found dead, her frail body seemingly fused into the very couch she had been sitting on for years. The horrifying condition of her remains and the circumstances surrounding her life shocked not just the local community but the entire world. But how could something so terrible happen inside a home where her parents lived? How did Lacey become a prisoner in her own body, left to die in unimaginable suffering? Lacey Ellen Fletcher was born in 1985 in Slaughter, Louisiana, a quiet town where neighbors knew each other well. As a child, she was described as sweet, shy, and intelligent for years. She attended public school and was even part of the volleyball team. However, as she entered her teenage years, something changed. Reports suggest that Lacey began developing severe social anxiety and possibly undiagnosed neurological conditions. At the age of 14, she stopped going to school. Her parents, Sheila and Clay Fletcher, pulled her out and decided to homeschool her. Then, she simply disappeared. While her parents remained active members of the community, Sheila was a town alderman, and Clay was a well-known local figure. Lacey was never seen again by neighbors or former classmates. Years passed, and it seemed as though Lacey no longer existed. On January 3, 2022, first responders arrived at the Fletcher home after Sheila called 911, saying her daughter had stopped breathing. What they found inside was beyond comprehension. Lacey was dead on the couch in the living room, sitting in a deep hole of human waste and decayed fabric. Her body was covered in feces, sores, and maggots. Her skin had melted into the upholstery, and she was severely malnourished, weighing only 96 pounds, 43 kilograms. Medical examiners determined that she had been sitting in the same position for at least 12 years. She had bed sores so deep that bones were visible. She suffered from bacterial infections that caused her slow, painful death. Her muscles were completely wasted, meaning she had not moved in years. The house had no medical equipment, no wheelchair, nothing to help her move. Her parents, Sheila and Clay Fletcher, lived in the same house the entire time and even had food, working utilities, and a normal social life, all while Lacey was dying in the next room. When questioned, Sheila and Clay claimed that their daughter had mental and physical health problems and that she refused to leave the couch. They said that Lacey chose to stay there, and they simply respected her decision. However, medical experts strongly disagreed. Lacey was physically unable to move, meaning she could not have voluntarily stayed in that condition. It was clear that she needed medical care and intervention, which her parents never gave her. No hospital visits for over a decade, no attempt to get therapy or professional help, no explanation for why they let her sit in filth for years. Her condition suggested that she suffered from locked-in syndrome or severe physical paralysis, meaning she was fully conscious but completely unable to move. Imagine being fully aware but unable to cry for help. After an autopsy revealed that Lacey had suffered from chronic neglect and severe starvation, authorities arrested Sheila and Clay Fletcher and charged them with second-degree murder. If convicted, they could face life in prison. Sheila reportedly showed no emotion during questioning. Clay said he felt ashamed but never explained why they didn't seek help. Lacey suffered for years in silence, with no one knowing about her condition until it was too late. Many people wondered why no one intervened. How could a woman be left to rot in her own home for years? Her parents isolated her from the world. Once she was homeschooled, she disappeared from society. There were no welfare checks. Since she was an adult, no one was required to check on her. Her parents were respected in the community. No one suspected that something so horrific was happening inside their home. This case is a horrifying example of extreme neglect and abuse, raising serious questions about how we can protect vulnerable individuals from suffering in silence. Lacey Fletcher's case is one of the most shocking examples of parental neglect in modern history. Whether due to ignorance, cruelty, or a disturbing combination of both, her parents failed her completely. The world will never know exactly what Lacey was thinking in her final days. Was she aware of what was happening? Did she cry for help? Did she ever believe someone would come to save her? We may never have all the answers, but one thing is clear: this should never have happened.